Welcome to In It to Win It. This is Steve Barton. Thank you for tuning in. If you're liking these videos, hit the like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. I am here with Ben Mumme. He has his own YouTube channel, and it's called Living Your Greatness. Living Your Greatness. And you interview guys like Rick Rule, and you basically try to ask them questions that they've never been asked before, right? Try to get down to Olympians, just real rock stars in their craft. And you try to get down, what makes them different? How do they specialize their craft? Does that summarize it well?
You nailed it to the T. First
Okay.
off, pleasure to be here. That's exactly it. It's. I think people that have mastered the best of what they do, I think it's not as complicated as people think. I do think they learned a lot through mentorship, and they learned a lot through making good decision making. So that's exactly it. Is I'm trying to unpack some of the best learning practices and tools, thinking tools for people to really have an impact on their decision making. So yeah, that's it. You nailed it.
Okay. So what would be an example of a question that you would ask a guy like Rick Rule that maybe, no one's ever asked him before?
Yeah, so a question that I've asked Rick Rule before, and it's a great episode 65 from Living Your Greatness, was at one point, I wanted to ask him, he talks a lot about probabilistic thinking. And so when we think about that in investing, what does that mean and why is that important for an investor? And when you actually think about it, it's a mental model. And mental models are super important. They're not 100%, but they're super important in terms of behavior science to help people make better decisions. So I like to ask questions like that because you hear Rick Rule all the time talk about these mental models, but we don't dive deeper, right? We always focus more on the macro and the micro aspects. But if we could try and get, and pick from his brain these amazing, investment tools, it will help us learn to be more due diligent and make better decisions ourselves.
Now, what is your technique to get some of your guests? You've had Olympians on, and like, what is it that, how do you get these guys?
Yeah, great question. I think the biggest thing is courage to just reach out and just tell them, hey, this is who I am, this is what I'm striving to do. My goal is pretty ambitious right now, but it's down the road to inspire millions of people to enhance their overall health and wellness, be financially fit, physically fit, emotionally fit. And just straight out answer, you have to be personable, you have to care, you have to be authentic. And so that's essentially what I do is I have the courage to just reach out, whether that's through email or whether that's through Instagram or other means.
I've kind of found something similar, and another one too is asking them questions that they're extremely passionate about. I was joking with my buddy the other day, and he's like, how do you get like Robert Kiyosaki? And I'm like, well, Martha Stewart herself would fly her private jet to my mom's house where we're recording in her basement where I live, as long as I kept asking her about her cookie recipes. You know what I'm saying? Like if you can target your questions to your guest in something that they're very, very passionate about, you can't shut them up,
Absolutely. No, I think you totally nailed it. And it reminds me of, there's another great podcaster. He doesn't interview in this space, but his name is Mark Champagne. He was another guest on my show, and he's all about asking better questions. That's what he is passionate about, which you kind of mentioned, and people always feel passion, right? Fire catches fire. And on his show, he also interviews top performers who are at the best of their game. So a little similar, I guess, in some ways to mine. But he's big on Socratic thinking and Socratic questioning. And when you actually learn, a lot of people don't know how to ask better questions. And so, even me right now, I'm happy with where I am, but I'm so far from the man that I'm chasing or the person I'm trying to be to help everyone else, right? So I think that's crucial, is also understanding how do we ask better questions.
Yeah. Now you've been emceeing a bit here at the BRIC, and you did this last year as well, right?
Yeah, so I did this last year as well, and the story I actually want to share with people, Jay Martin was my first guest on my show. I literally just reached out to him and I said, hey Jay, my name is Ben. You've had a huge impact on my financial wellness. I actually have a phys ed degree where I teach college physical education, so a lot of people would be like, how's this guy in the space? Again, I'm just a normal retail investor like anyone else listening right now. But I'm very curious, right? So through self-development and continuous learning, which Rick Rule always advocates for, I followed Jay's show for a while, and he had a huge impact. And honestly, it was that moment of him saying, hey, absolutely, I'll be on your show, let's do it, let's rock it. And next thing you know, about 50 episodes later, he says, hey, I love the work that you're doing, I want to invite you out here. So I definitely have, you know, a lot to thank Jay, you know, for being a mentor to myself, and just being so generous by inviting me to be out here.
Right on. Cool. That's awesome. Well, thank you, Ben, for coming on the show.
Pleasure.
I look forward to us doing this again, and we'll do it again when we're both over Zoom.
Can't wait.
And yeah, I look forward to it as well. And thank you for tuning in. We will talk to you next time.